So the weekend of the movies, I had two choices, both of which have been pushed back several months. One of them was The Loft, which I had no interest in, especially after reading the reviews. The other one was Project Almanac, which also was pushed back. But I ended up seeing Project Almanac. Simply because I have always been a sucker for time travel movies. Good or bad, I'm there. I love time travel movies. The writing in time travel movies is so complex, convoluted, that if they get it just right, it can be really great. So, before going to see this, I start checking out the reviews. And I go to Rotten Tomatoes, and I find out this thing has a 38%. And I start reading some of the reviews. And I also read some of the user reviews. And they're all terrible. So, I go to see this thing, sort of expecting the worst. And I think I may be the only person in the world that actually liked this movie. You know, the only person in the world that liked this movie that's not profiting from it. I kind of liked it. I was entertained. It was interesting. It has plot holes in it, yeah, but I enjoyed it. It's really not that bad. I can see where people have problems with it, which I'll get to in a minute. Basically, what I love about this is one of the rare movies these days that actually tells a story from beginning to end. And it actually builds a story around the time travel. It's not just like time travel just comes up. This kid, and this is a no-name cast, I should say. This kid, named Josh, is trying to get into MIT. And he gets accepted, but not on a scholarship. Excuse me. So, he's digging around in some of his dad's old stuff. His dad died years ago. His dad was a research scientist for the government. And finds an old video camera of Josh's 7th birthday. And discovers that on the videotape is his, at his 7th birthday party. In the back of the room, briefly, is his current self, himself, in his teen years. He's there on this 10-year-old videotape. So he does some digging and kind of follows where he went on the videotape and discovers he went to the basement. Starts digging around and finds that his dad had figured out some tentative steps in the area of time travel. And he finds it, buried under the floorboards. And he and his friends put it together and start working on his experiments, and discovered that they can time travel. They figured out how to go back a couple of minutes, and then a little more work the previous day, and then a couple of weeks, a couple of months, a couple of years. And that's interesting because that's the first half hour of the movie. It doesn't just, it's not like that Stargate movie where, we have the gate and he figures it out in the first 10 minutes. There's actually some discovery here. So, the kids discover that they can go back a couple of days. And what do they do with time travel? They discover that they can do clever things. They get back at bullies that messed with them. They can pass a test, pass a chemistry test that they flunked. They go to Lollapalooza, which had been a couple of months before, and they end up winning the lottery, which there's a nice twist on them winning the lottery that I won't give away. But, which seems like a waste of all of this stuff, but if you consider, this is what teenagers would do with this power. They would go win the lottery. They would pass a test. They would try to get the girl that they liked. They would do this is what they would do. I found that interesting. And I found their adventure interesting. I actually found myself caring about these kids. And I think it mostly has to do with the fact that I don't know these actors. I've never seen these actors before. So the story comes completely clean, to me, without any kind of previous baggage. But it's interesting in that, of course, naturally, there are paradoxes. They discover that they've created a ripple effect. This has happened because of this has happened. There's a plane crash that happens, but it turns out there is a long series of events that took place just because they went to Lollapalooza. And the back half of the movie, the second half of the movie, is them running around trying to solve it, trying to figure it out. While one kid ends up getting selfish because in the interim he's met his new girlfriend and all of this. So it just becomes this crazy kind of plot. It's kind of like Back to the Future 2, where they're running around trying to undo what they've done. I thought it was really clever. I honestly, I enjoyed it. It's not perfect by any means. It's got holes in it. I enjoyed the actors. I enjoyed their adventure. I liked what they did. I liked who they were. I mean, you don't really get to know them all that well, but I did enjoy them. But like I said, I like how this story, it tells a story from beginning to end. It starts one way, or it starts with an idea and then builds on it, rather than just getting to the interesting parts. My battery's about to run out, so I'll be right back with some final thoughts and some trailers.